We're here to recognize Safe Boating Week, not only in the city of Appleton, but throughout our region here in the Fox Cities. It's so important to emphasize safe boating as everybody gets out on the water, dusts off the boats, and gets them running. It's important to be mindful of safety and always to keep safety in mind. And to that end, I've issued a proclamation recognizing Safe Boating Week in Appleton. Whereas recreational boating is a popular and enjoyable activity enjoyed by many each year, and whereas boating can also be dangerous without proper precautions and safety measures in place. And whereas the annual observance of Safe Boating Week supports the Safe Boating Campaign, a global awareness effort that encourages boaters to make the most of their boating adventures by being responsible. And whereas the United States Coast Guard reports that drowning is the cause of death in 4 out of every 5 recreational boating fatalities, and 75% of those who are not wearing a life jacket. And whereas the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources is dedicated to boating safety and provides valuable resources and information to boaters to help ensure safe and responsible boating. And whereas Safe Boating Week reminds all boaters to wear a life jacket, avoid boating under the influence, be aware of weather and water conditions, stay in contact with someone on shore, use an engine cutoff device, and take boater education courses to improve their knowledge and skill. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Jacob A. Woodford, Mayor of the City of Appleton, do hereby proclaim May 17th through the 23rd, 2025 as Safe Boating Week in Appleton, and encourage all boaters to take the necessary steps to ensure a safe and enjoyable boating experience while making memories with family and friends.
Perfect.
Well, I have you all. I want to talk briefly about this. Maybe I'll steal some thunder from the from our colleagues in the auxiliary.
No problem.
There are many folks who are moving to inflatable PFDs. This is my own inflatable PFD, and they're great from a comfort and mobility perspective on the water. But sometimes we take for granted that once it's on, it's ready to go, and that's not exactly true. So there are a couple of things I want to point out, which is with these inflatable PFDs, there are a couple different types. Some of them have an auto inflator, so when you go in the water, it automatically inflates. But others are manual only, so it's important to know what kind of vest you have. The other thing is you have to maintain these vests. So unlike a conventional PFD it has its flotation in it and over time does deteriorate and expire, these canisters inside of here need to be replaced occasionally. So it's important to consult your maintenance manual to make sure you know when it needs to be replaced. The last thing to point out is that while they are more comfortable, it's very important that you have it cinched down tightly around you, because if you do end up going in the water and it inflates, it'll have a tendency to ride up if you don't have it really tight around you, to the point of almost being uncomfortable. And so important to make sure that if you're using these, you're using them properly. The other thing is these don't count toward your required PFDs on board if you're not wearing them. So you need to make sure that you have this on if you're counting on it as your PFD. And of course, we always recommend using a PFD when you're on the water. That's the best way to stay safe. As I mentioned in the proclamation, vast majority of drowning deaths involve people who were not wearing personal flotation devices. So that's the end of my little speech, but I appreciate your attention. I want to turn it over to our colleagues here at the auxiliary to say a few words.
My name is Lee Carl. I'm the flotilla commander for Flotilla Needham and Anderson. We cover the northern half of Lake Winnebago. We do VEs during the summer. And I'll point out one thing extra on the inflatable. Never put it underneath a coat. Because if you have to use it when you inflate it, it's going to the compressed air is going to push inward towards you. It'll harm you. So you always want to make sure that it's on the outside of a coat if you've got a coat on. The other thing is make sure if you're going out boating, you have a life jacket on. It saves lives. It's as simple as that. If you don't wear a life jacket, you've got not a real good chance of surviving a major accident. I also have my colleague here, immediate past flotilla commander, Robert Wilkie.
One thing I will emphasize on the PFDs, when we do vessel safety checks, a lot of times the people say, "Oh yeah, we've got them," and they bring them out and we check them. And then we ask them, do you wear them? Well, no, they're not comfortable. The problem is, try and put a PFD on when you go in the water. Your chances of getting into is slim to none. And we would prefer not to have to rescue a corpse. We'd rather rescue a live person. When it comes to children, make sure that they're fitted correctly. And the best way to do that is after the child has it on, put your hands under the top and lift up. If it comes right off the child, it's too big. The other thing that was brought up was the emergency cutoff, which is a new thing. If you go in the water, one of the problems is the motor's still running, and that blade will chew you up. So many people have died, not because they were in the water, but because the motor was still running and ran over it. And we couldn't do anything about it. So all the newer boats automatically are coming equipped with them. You can retrofit your boat. That's what we've done. We get written up if we don't have that clip to our vest, because you never know when you're going to go over. Prime example was many years back, there was a fisherman out on Little Lake Butamore. His boat was going around and around and around. He wasn't on board. When they eventually found him, he did not have a PFD on, so he perished. Anything else you'd like to?
The other thing is that we are here during the summer. You can certainly contact the flotilla. We're at all the marinas during the summertime doing vessel examinations, keeping people safe on the water.
Do you know, like, maybe an average number of calls you get during the warm summer months when people are out enjoying time on the water? Do you have any idea?
I'd say between law enforcement, the DNR, and us, probably maybe 3 or 4, on any weekend. A lot of it is just rescues and that their boat gave up the ghost, and so we tow them in, which was great. In fact, we had, I won't bring up about that one, that we had to rescue law enforcement. They got a new boat and it died on them, so we went out and got them and pulled them back in. So it can happen to anybody. If you haven't taken any educational classes, it's highly recommended. We've got quite a few members that have been on the water all their life, and when they join us, they go through the same training that the Coast Guard goes through. And the comment that I always hear from them is, "Man, I didn't know that." There's no way you're going to know everything. So take a course. If you have a personal locator beacon, register it. If you have marine radio, it can be programmed with all the information about the boat. It'll give longitude and latitude. You just hit the red button on it, and it'll send out a signal. It goes right to the Coast Guard. The Coast Guard turns around and gets a hold of whoever's closest to get to it. And Channel 16, always have Channel 16.
You'll mention the Coast Guard app.
What?
Coast Guard app.
Oh, yeah. There is a Coast Guard app that you can just go to the App Store and just put in Coast Guard, and it has everything in there. It even has the float plan. It's really a nice little app, and we bring that up to everybody. Anything else, Perry?
No, this is what it breaks.
Perfect.
And it's got float plans, it's got all kinds of current information. It can tell you what the federal rules are, it gives you the local rules from the state, etc., etc. So it's a tremendous resource to try to get everybody down.
I've got one last question
Yeah.
for you, Mr. Woodford. It might seem like kind of a silly question, but why is right now a good time to make this proclamation and remind people that, boating safety is really important?
Yeah, so Safe Boating Week is really an international campaign, and it's important to raise awareness right now because it's starting to get warm. We're getting our boats ready and looking forward to a great season of boating, and there's a lot of fun to be had, lots of opportunities to get on the water here in the Fox Cities and in Wisconsin. And so this is a good time as you're getting ready to make sure that not only the boat's running, which is a challenge for us sometimes, but also to make sure that you have the proper safety equipment, that you're ready to go. And so keep that in mind as you get out on the water. But this isn't meant to make boating scary by any means. It's meant to remind folks in our communities that it is a risk to be respected when you're on the water, and you can do it and have a lot of fun by making good choices and being prepared for if and when something goes wrong, so that you get back in one piece and that you get all of your folks who are out with you back safely. And that's really what it's all about. So I appreciate the opportunity to raise awareness with our local Coast Guard Auxiliary, and look forward to a great season of boating, and hope to see you out on the water.
And hopefully we don't have to rescue you.
So you can see, if you look right over here, you see a bunch of young people who are learning. This is a sailing club, okay? So they're learning about boat safety right now. You can imagine that warms our heart. You know? So that's what's happening over there right now.
Very good.
Thank you guys for being here.
Say, could I trouble somebody for a picture? I'm running solo today.
No problem.
Yes, you don't
guys
have
get
your
in here.
sidekick along.
Yeah, I don't. My sidekick is taking a well-deserved break.
Same for me.
Oh, sure.
Alrighty, ready? 1, 2, 3. Perfect. I got a couple for you.
Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
no problem.
Okay, thank you.
All right, hang on a second, guys.
Oh, you want to get off now? Okay.
You're the stars of the
You're always
show.
behind the scenes.
Remember what I did for a living for 40 years.